Welcome to the World's Mayor Experience. I'm the World's Mayor, also known as Joshua T. Berglan. I want to thank you so much for being here today because this is the start of something that I pray will lead me to the ultimate goal, the completion of a vision and the fulfilling of something that has been on my heart for a very long time. And wherever you're watching from, whether it's YouTube or Rumble or listening on the podcast or watching directly on the worldsmayor.com or even joshuatberglan.com, I want to thank you so much for being here. Those of you who have watched any of my other broadcasts, you're going to recognize some of this and then also understand that this is completely different. And I'm going to start this broadcast by giving you a little bit of history and then a little bit of where we're going. And this is going to be as quick as possible. But my journey started right after being homeless, my broadcasting journey. And of course, that was something that I always wanted to do as a kid, being a broadcaster, talk show host, and getting to travel the world and serve, and then also being a QVC host. Those were my ultimate goals in life. And really, it hasn't changed a whole lot, except for the fact that at my earliest childhood dreams, and yes, I did see myself serving and helping people, but ultimately I was drawn to rock stars and, traveling the world and doing all of that stuff. And that hasn't changed. At the same time, the why behind the mission has. And ever since I turned my life around about 7 years ago, I have been on a journey. And on a journey to make my dreams come true, a journey to make those dreams and visions that I once thought was God mocking me, and then realizing that, hey, wait a second, this is what I'm supposed to do with my life. Well, I've been working to make that happen. And I want to not spend a lot of time on all of those details. I just want to say this. I have moved forward in my dream. My dreams have been coming true. And yet, or at least the steps to get there. Is it as fast as I want it? No. Has it been easy? No. In fact, I would say that my path to purpose and making my dreams come true, this life has been more difficult than the life that I lived as a 20-year chemsex addict that almost died from multiple overdoses and died from just being an idiot and dying from drug, abuse and dying from not taking care of myself when I first found out I had HIV. There's all of these things and that I could go into. But the fact is that when I made that change that choice to turn my life around and committed to the action, I had so much noise in my head. The only thing that I could really do that made sense and that felt like this was the right way forward is when I trusted the spirit inside of me. And mind you, when I first turned my life around, it was religion and following Christianity, and my faith has evolved since then. If you've watched any of my other broadcasts, you've heard me say a lot of very controversial things. A lot of what I stand by and some that I've grown up and wouldn't say again. In fact, one of the things that I want to say before I go into this story more, because I do need to address the past, is that I'm not an evangelist anymore, at least one that is trying to lead people to a religion of salvation. And without going too far into my beliefs, I'll just say this: your beliefs are none of my business. My only goal is to help people realize that the person, the entity, the energy, the source that created us has a plan for us. We were created for something very specific. And I believe we are shown that through dreams, visions, downloads, and sometimes it comes through someone else to tell us. Those gifts and those experiences are not unique to Christianity. In fact, a lot of the religions I know, you hear very similar stories. So I'm not going to talk about my faith that much. I'm not going to talk about what people should believe, because frankly, the way we interpret what we hear has a lot to do with what we believe. Our interpretations of what we read dictates what we believe. And who am I to argue with you? I don't know the source of the content that you read. And then at the same time, my opinions, they've come from something. My divine revelations may look a lot different than yours. And I think that has more to do with you and your relationship with your creator for you. And for me, well, my opinions and what I feel that God or the creator is speaking to me, or the great spirit is speaking to me, I mean, it's for me, and how I interpret that is, well, how I interpret it. I'm here to spread love. I'm here to be love, and I'm here to be free. And I know how to be free, and I know how to love now. And I'm grateful for my religion for giving me the boundaries of which I'm going to stay within. And I learned obedience through my religion, but then I learned to trust the spirit over everything else, including anything that man has put his hands on and had a chance to manipulate or change or anything else. Now, does it mean that I don't read the Bible? No, not at all. I read the Bible a lot. I love the Bible. In fact, I love a lot of Holy Scripture, scriptures, or other religious text. I'm not in the business of trying to tell people what is right or wrong. I'm not going to do that. But I am going to be an evangelist, a different kind of evangelist. I'm going to be an evangelist of hope, of inspiration, of love, of teaching, of education, and being a servant. Not a servant as in a slave, but a servant that I'm here for the people. I'm here to make a difference in the world. And so anyway, all of my old broadcasts, Gratitude Unfiltered, Remixed, Society of Kingdom Minds, Spoken Word, A Conversation with Joshua T. Berglan, all of those other broadcasts that I've done, actually Insights, Planet Zoom, a lot of different broadcasts. The World's Mayor Experience is going to be a mix of all of that. We are going to, every broadcast will have different segments. And of course, you'll see some of those segments in just clips. And then you'll have full access to full episodes as well. And I'm really excited about that. But unlike, it's not just going to be, the World's Mayor Experience is not just going to be me talking behind a camera. It's not going to just be a podcast. It's not going to just be a broadcast. Ultimately, here's the goal. And this is why I'm here. And this is what I'm working towards. I'm working towards the World's Mayor Experience becoming a world tour. But not a world tour where it's like, hey, look at me, I'm the world's mayor. No. If you know anything about Media Company in a Box, which is an all-in-one media solution that I created, and if you know anything about my history that is depicted in the book, The Devil Inside Me, you'll know that I have a passion for people that were addicts or are addicts, people that are former trafficking victims, people that were sexually abused, people that are mentally unique, as I like to call them, as I like to call myself. Also, I have a love for people that are incarcerated. And because I know that even though I've been in jail 6 times and I was facing 5 years the last time I got out of jail, I know without a shadow of a doubt that I could still be in prison and not have been given another chance, but I was. And I get to work with a lot of people that are locked away in shadow prisons that are disguised as hospitals that are innocent, that have never been formally charged. I'm all about civil rights and civil justice and all about making things fair for everyone. My ultimate goal in life is to help people realize and step into their God-given purpose and their God-given talent. Because I believe that when we do that, we don't have time to be racist douchebags and jerks, and we don't have time to discriminate. We don't have time to judge others because we are worried about doing what we are created to do. Now, funny thing is, what we are created to do really doesn't have as much to do with us as it does other people. Because after all, I believe our gifts and talents are meant to bless other people. And in turn, we are blessed by using our gifts and talents to bless others. But when we use our gifts and our talents for our own gain, typically the results end up a little bit funkier or unsavory, or it has the wrong heart behind it. So while as an evangelist, and I'm not going to ever bash the church, or I'm going to do my best to avoid bashing anyone or saying anything critical of anyone, because ultimately, one thing I've learned about being able to take a step back from ministry and being an evangelist and kind of watching how things play out, I don't like the way I was treated by the church or by other Christians, but I was also treated really nice by a lot of Christians and some churches. So I can't blanket statement anyone. I also know this, there's a lot of really good people that are deceived. I was deceived, I was hurt, and by people that were deceived. I know what it's like to be conned. And frankly, I know what it's like to con people too, unknowingly. Actually, knowingly too, because I did a lot of that before I gave my life to God, before I surrendered my whole life to Him. Or her, and see, that's the thing too. I don't have all the answers. I don't know if God's a he or a she or both. I don't know. I don't know if I even care, really. I just know that something amazing created us, and we were given these purposes and these gifts. And while sometimes it feels like we live in hell, because when you look around and you see what's coming through media players, it sometimes feels like hell. But then I go outside, I'm walking around, and I'm seeing this beautiful planet that I get to live in this beautiful area in Northfield, Minnesota, and I'm going, wow, this is amazing. And I see my children's eyes, and I see the joy and the things that come out of their mouth, and I get to see what they create. I'm going, and this may be hell, but they're a slice of heaven. And my partner in life, love, and everything, my soulmate, Jessica, seeing like her and how she is and how she shows up for people and the gift that she's been for me and the gift that she is for so many others. It makes me just know that there's a God. I don't know how much the details matter. I know there's a right way to live and a wrong way to live for each individual person. And I know that it's not really my choice or decision or even right to tell you what's best for you. I will, however, put a spotlight on shadow worlds. I will, however, talk about injustice that's done in the world. We're going to talk about a lot of that and a lot of other things that I'm passionate about. But ultimately, my core message is meant to elevate the passion and purpose of communities, the people in communities. Why? Because I have a global vision. I have a huge global vision. But without building up communities, what good is a global vision? Because if you can't take care of home, how in the world can you take care of the world? So the World's Mayor Experience is going to turn into an event, but here's the event that it's going to become. And I need your help. I need your support. I need your prayers. I need your support. If you are wanting to join a team, you're wanting to help grow this, and you have, time and talent and treasure, whatever that you want to bring to the table, and you want to work together and partner, well, here's the mission. The World's Mayor Experience, as I was saying before, is not even about me. Yes, I'm the host. Yes, it's my vision. But ultimately, the goal, we'll throw out the first goal is New York City. New York City is the very first place I want to go to do one of these events, but it's a global vision with global cities in mind. I want to travel to New York City. And then when I travel to that city, I want to be there for 2 weeks. For essentially the first week and 6 days, it is volunteering and serving and working in the community of New York City, working with youth organizations, working with anti-trafficking organizations, working with anti-poverty or homelessness organizations, mental health organizations. My goal is to work with them, to teach, to bring resources, to meet local heroes, to teach media skills, because my heart is to teach the future of media, because I believe that by knowing media and learning all that new media provides and the future media provides, these resources and the opportunity that it's given us, I believe by knowing this and by knowing these skills, anyone can make their dreams come true, utilizing their gifts, their talents, and even their intellectual property. Everyone has a story. I also have cats, and they're gonna show up when the door's not shut. So hold on just a second. Wasn't expecting this to happen. Thought my door was shut. But since you're here, sweetheart, you can stay here. Okay. Ow, your claws are sharp today. Anyway, so this experience, that's not going to be distracting. Come here, cat. I'm not going to edit that out. Anyway. So to travel and work with these communities and bring the resources and teach. I'm particularly passionate about the youth. One of the things that I'm most excited about this coming September is that I'm working with the Arts Guild of Northfield, Minnesota to teach a 6-week media course that is going to evolve into multiple courses. And of course, one of the other functions of what we're doing is we're building an app for the Girl Scouts Gold Award. And this is an education app / media company in a box. So it's combining the two technologies to go on and be a resource, not just for educators, but also students all over the world. And really, really excited about that. I won't go into those details. But in this event with teaching media and teaching these skills, it's not just, hey, you're going to learn media. We're actually going to teach people how to be able to use their gifts, talents, and intellectual property to immediately start the motion of creating a life for themselves and being able to provide for themselves. And they don't have to worry about their education level, whether they have the money to go to college or they have the money to take all the special courses. No, we want to give this away and we want to teach and again, bring people together. Yeah, we'll do interviews. Yeah, we'll do things like that. But it's really that initial 2 weeks is really about community and bringing people together and teaching and getting people excited about the opportunity that media brings. Because it doesn't matter what your passion is. It doesn't matter what your gifting is. When you have media knowledge, you can bring that to life in a way that allows you to provide a life for yourself, to provide for yourself financially, to provide for your family. And for some people that don't have an education or don't have the mental capacity to be able to go into a college or a school and learn or wait 4 years. Some people can't wait 4 years to get a degree. They need something now. And by learning media, that makes that possible. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about teaching it. My system, Media Company in a Box, is revolutionary. And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm saying it's revolutionary because it's never been done before. And it's simple, and I love teaching it. I have private clients that pay to learn it. And then I have people that don't have the money to pay for it. And guess what? They can trade, they get to trade time and their other talent, because maybe they have a skill that's useful. That opportunity is available for everyone. I get to be paid for the work that I do and the work that I've done. That said, if you're somebody in need and you don't have the money, let's work something out. Because here's something I know. Getting something for free, like, do we really appreciate it when it's free? Or do we appreciate it when we work for it? So the reason why I'm not just giving it away for free like I did for so long when we had a nonprofit media organization is because ultimately you got to invest in yourself. And if you don't have the money, invest in yourself in another way. And there's ways to do that. So at the end of the 2 weeks of this event, the teaching and the community gatherings and bringing in resources, whether it's clothes, funding, food, things like that, just again, working to build community relationships. At the end of that 2 weeks, there's going to be an event. And this event is half festival, half Tonight Show, half art show, half concert. It's a hybrid of a lot of things, but it's not just the in-person event that is going to be special, because I love a good event. I love a good concert. I love to dance. I love to be around people, but I love celebrations. And this is ultimately going to be a celebration. Yes, there's going to be entertainment and things like that, but it's a celebration. And on top of it just being an event, the other thing that we're going to do that makes it unique is that there's going to be an online audience, but not just any online audience. Some of the online audience is going to have the opportunity to experience this event virtually, as in virtual reality, because we are going to bring two different technologies into this experience. And I'm excited about it. Not just virtual reality, but also immersive media. And why immersive media matters is because immersive media for broadcast that are broadcast or streamed globally, this becomes a win for everyone. A win for the audience, a win for the viewers, because again, the engagement, being able to talk, being able to be a part of the action, immersed on the screen, but it's also a win for advertisers. It's a win for sponsors, because you can't fast forward commercials that don't exist. And what I mean by that is there will be no commercials. It's not like that. But there is a way with this technology for advertisers to be seen, to even have people buy their products in real time without ever distracting from what's happening on the main screens, meaning the event itself. It would not distract from that. In fact, it would heighten the experience. People can buy and shop in real time. People can engage. And then also people can immerse themselves in the event and feel like they're there with us. So while a lot of people talk about the dangers of media and the harm of media, our very intent from the very beginning, when we started down this path of independent media and teaching media so that people could be independent media organizations, the whole purpose behind that was to give people freedom, because that's what media does, but also the freedom to do things the right way, the freedom to tell the truth. And that is a big message. Truth is healing. Truth is the most important superpower in the world, I believe. And yeah, it can hurt. But as T.D. Jakes once said, oh, he's probably said it a bunch more than once, the blessing is in the breaking. This tour, again, part rock concert, part Tony Robbins, part house music festival, part art show, part community gathering, and also part church. Because again, even though I'm no longer an evangelist as part of a religion, I do want to evangelize the world with truth, with love, compassion, and encouragement, and opportunities to step into our God-given purpose and getting to use our God-given talents to make the world a better place. You know, the world's mayor nickname, we don't need to go into all the stories there, but it's really not even about me. I call myself the world's mayor. Other people call me the world's mayor. It's great. I was called mayor before the world's mayor, but that's another thing. But the world's mayor is about elevating everyone that I come around, whether it's, walking down the street, whether it's in broadcast, whether it's in interviews, whether it's anything. I mean, content, just listening to somebody. But the whole point is to elevate the passion and purpose and missions of those that I get to work with, those I come around. And I want to inspire others to be their own world mayor, meaning they seek to elevate, they seek to uplift, they seek to inspire. It's so important to me. It's what I live for. So for the very first time in my life, and one of the mistakes I made, and we're going to wrap this up, but I have been led by the Spirit to operate most of my life. I had so much noise in my head and so much junk going on that I couldn't even, didn't know what to do. The thought of making a plan made no sense to me. In fact, I was struggling so bad financially. I'm like, well, what kind of plan could I make? I have a confession to make. I heard from Miles Monroe and all of these other thought leaders the importance of making a plan. And I was like, well, I'll make a plan when I have the money. Well, guess what? That's not the right way to go. Make a plan. Create a plan. When you create a plan, typically you'll follow it, especially if that plan that you set is in line with your purpose and what you want to do, what you really want in life. Make a plan of how to get there. And that is one of the things that I've done. So I can look at the last several years of broadcasting and getting kicked off of platforms and losing my following and losing money and losing everything for some of the decisions and the stands that I took, and, speaking out against, certain mandates that force people to do things that they may not have been comfortable with. I've made some bold stands and I've said some things that, again, some of it, maybe I wouldn't say as obnoxiously as before. Certain things I still stand by. But the one thing about it is this: I've learned some hard lessons. I've grown up a lot, and I took a long break from broadcasting. I mean, yeah, I did some interviews, but as far as spoken word and, just talking from the heart and sharing, I had to take a step back, because after I realized that, that wasn't the evangelist I was not the evangelist that I want to be. I realized that I needed to get really clear on what my truth was, what the truth I'm going to tell. I mean, I'm going to tell the truth, but do I really need to, be a truther? It's like, do I really need to speak out against so much? Do I even need to talk as much? I've had to ask myself some very hard questions. And moving forward, I'm going to do my best to just only say what really matters to me and speak to causes that need to be spoken about, but avoid opinion as much as possible, because what is an opinion really? What value is an opinion? What value is in an opinion? I don't know. Because I don't know how much good they do. But with information, with resources, with education, people can do something with that. And that is a big part of what the world's mayor experience will be, is that things that are useful, things that you can use, things that you can apply for your life, or even just things that are interesting. So while I'm starting here in my studio at home, in broadcasting, and going to be introducing some new segments and other things to, these broadcasts, which I'm kind of excited about, mixing things up a little bit. Just know the ultimate goal is to take this on tour. London, Tokyo, Moscow, Sydney, Dallas, Houston, Austin, San Francisco, San Diego, Los Angeles, Dallas, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Omaha, London, Hamburg, Paris, Barcelona, South Africa, Johannesburg, Africa, all over Africa. Yeah, that's where this tour wants to go. And as far as the whole, full, detailed and vision, I'll keep some of that to myself. But ultimately, we have a plan. We're going to follow that plan, and we're going to bring that mission to life. So moving forward, this opening segment, this opening monologue of the show will not be as long, or I will do my best to not make it so long. And but I'm excited. I'm excited about this. I'm excited about being more focused and less loosey-goosey because, well, you know, sometimes structure is actually a good thing. Even though I don't typically like it, I believe it's a good thing. Discipline. Hold on, one other thing. Scan this. So I'm doing this course, a self-mastery course. And day 2, I'm on day 5, not that far into it, is about clarity. Being clear about what it is that I really want in life. What is the most important thing? I'm not going to tell you what that is for me, because it doesn't matter. But I will tell you that becoming crystal clear of what my priorities are, what matters to me most, and what it is that I want in life, and being able to put it in order has helped me create an amazing plan. And that plan and plans seem to, and when you follow the plan, even though, you know, sometimes God steps in and you've had this plan and you may feel like you've gotten taken off the path a little bit, or maybe, you know, you get retrieval sooner, maybe you see success sooner than you thought. That's all God to me. But for that to happen, I believe we have to have a plan, and we start marching towards that. Because when we don't have a plan, yeah, it's really easy to say you're led by the Spirit, but, you know, sometimes that's how you get going. Where'd you go? Hey, Spirit, I don't feel you right now. I'm over here in the wilderness. I don't know where to go. What do you want me to do? Where you at? The plan seems to keep, at least in my experience, keep me connected, because then I always know where I'm going. I don't know if that's useful for you. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned. We have a really interesting segment coming right up. Thank you for being here. God bless.
Yeah. My come and never sleep on me. Eyes on my chain 숙여 너의 고개를 what you looking at fool 너의 눈 흐리멍텅했고 find your comfort from another yeah. I go low like undercover yeah. Wanna know my name 죽지 않은 일은 위에 부어버려 기름 yes you can even guess me cause I'm baby high low로 확실해 not like maybe Devil let me welcome to my palace 찾지 않아 Alice you just keep on wonder You just keep on wonder 찾지 않아 Alice 버려 너의 memory I just pop a bin Danny have been 나는 걸어 Boeing 747 날개 we get ready Like I wanna get in late 준비해 빨리 we ain't got a lot of time man wavy night Jameson hit the rock bottom 잃어버린 정신머리들 yeah I got 'em yeah I shot 'em 모든 problems 언제까지 기다려야 할래 now gone yeah Yeah. come and never sleep on me. Eyes on my chain 숙여 너의 고개를 what you looking at fool. 너의 눈 허리 멍청했고 find your comfort from another yeah. I go low like undercover yeah. Wanna know my name 죽지 않은 일은 위에 부어버려 기름 yes. You can't even guess me cause I'm baby high low로 확실해 not like maybe Baby let me welcome to my palace 찾지 않아 Alice You just keep on wonder You just keep on wonder 찾지 않아 Alice 버려 너의 memory I just pop a bin Danny have been 나는 걸어 Boeing 747 I get weak get ready Like I wanna get late 준비
Welcome to the very first World's Mayor Wisdom, a segment in the World's Mayor Experience. Really grateful to have you here today because we are going to talk about HIV. Yeah, that HIV, the thing that, the disease that no one really likes to talk about. Or I shouldn't say no one, but very few people, because it's not a party starter. It's not something that says, hey, come and give me a hug when you first start talking about it. That said, it's an important subject because we live in a very over-sexualized culture. And you call me a victim of that because this is what the world I grew up in, being very over-sexualized, being molested as a kid, abused and so on. You know, I was exposed to things very early on, but ultimately, you know, it was my decisions and my choices that led down a very risky and dangerous path that inevitably gave me HIV. And I got to tell you, even though it's been over 7 years since I found out, and now I live a very healthy, happy life. I'm undetectable. I can't spread the disease to anyone. And I'm very fortunate to have an amazing partner in Jessica that in life, love, business, and everything that she stands by me. But also, I get to keep her healthy and keep her safe because I take my medication. And again, I'm undetectable. I can't pass it on. But it's amazing to me that a lot of people don't know that. They don't know what undetectable means. Some of people have never heard that before. But what's really alarming, because again, I can talk about how you get HIV all you want, all day long. I can talk about how I got it. And there's a whole chapter in my book, The Devil Inside Me, that talks about the day I found out I had HIV and what I did after. And it wasn't good, and it wasn't healthy, and it wasn't the right thing to do. A lot of my behavior early on when I first found out was anything but nice or kind or good or healthy or smart or wise. And frankly, some of it was just evil. And it's been awful. That was awful to do that. And of course, now having the opportunity to talk about HIV in a way that is less troubling and to speak hope and life into the subject, because here's the facts. It's not a death sentence. Can AIDS be? Yes. But I've had guests on previous broadcasts that had AIDS and they're healthy because of the medication that's available. And that defied everything I had ever heard because, you know, AIDS is supposed to be the death sentence and HIV is the precursor to AIDS. That said, it never went that far for me, but I am blessed that I medicated early enough that I was able to make my condition undetectable in a matter of months. And I wanted to take this time in this very first segment to say this. For people out there that have HIV, some of you already know this, but just because you have HIV doesn't mean that your dreams don't get to come true. Just because you find out that you have HIV does not mean that you are not worthy of love, because you are worthy of love. And if you're somebody that thinks that they need to stay in an abusive relationship, a toxic relationship, an abusive relation, I think I said abusive relationship, but if you think you're one of those people that your life is over, you'll never have your dreams come true, you'll never find the love of your life because you have HIV or any other disease for that matter, I got news for you. It's not true. I, with HIV, with all of my dark, bad history, managed to not only start to live the life of my dreams, but I'm with the woman of my dreams and have the family of my dreams. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. Your life is not over. There's a lot of people, though, and this alarms me, that have autoimmune diseases, or they're showing symptoms of autoimmune diseases. They're getting sick often. They're sluggish and fatigued, and they won't go look. They won't get tested. They won't check it out. And there's another demographic as well. There's a lot of unsuspecting partners out there that are with cheaters. And I was that cheater, for the record. And I'm not judging anyone. I just want you to know that if you're cheating, the damage that you're doing is not just to the person you're cheating on, not just to you, but it's the people in that person's life that are also being affected. It's a very selfish action. And again, I'm not judging, because I was that guy. There's a whole chapter in The Devil Inside Me dedicated to cheating and my cheating. There's a lot of men or boys trapped in men's bodies that are not willing to be honest about their sexuality, or their confusion with their sexuality, or they don't really know what their sexuality is, or what the desires they are having. I get it. And then they cheat and they sneak around. The problem is, sometimes when they sneak around and cheat, they're not using protection, or they're using drugs, or they're using other things. And again, I'm just speaking to a life I know, not judgment, speaking to a life I know. And what happens is that they don't tell their partner, and then they sleep with them unprotected, and then they're spreading disease, not even realizing they're doing it. Or maybe they don't want to know that they're doing it, or they don't want to know that they could be doing it. It's scary. It's scary to think about. It's scary to think of the risk that my risky behavior put a lot of people at risk. And whether it was people I was cheating with, I put them at risk. People that in our open relationship and our swinging and all that crap putting at risk. And I mean, there was just a lot of that, and it wasn't safe. And then on top of doing all that other stuff that my partners knew about, there was the stuff that they didn't know about that I was doing. And so I'm not trying to project my crap on you, or my old crap on you, but I'm saying all of this to say that if you're one of those people, I get it and I understand. And I just want you to know that the only way out of this is truth, because the lies will catch up to you, and the lies are hurt. But that's not what I'm going to spend the time on here. What I want to focus on is HIV itself, because it's not a death sentence, and you can live a healthy life. You can live a normal life. So I want to spend this time right now going over some just key things about HIV that you should know that maybe you don't know. And of course, if I can ever be of support or counsel for you, if you're somebody that just found out they have HIV, or you're worried that you have HIV, or you have HIV and you feel alone, I want you to know that I'm here for you. You can reach out to me anytime and I will talk to you. It's scary. It's like, it's an awful feeling. And again, there's a whole chapter in my book about the way I behaved as soon as I found out. And I can promise you there's a better way. So, HIV remains a significant global health issue. And while many things are commonly discussed, there are several lesser known crucial aspects of the epidemic that deserve attention. Late diagnosis. Many individuals are diagnosed with HIV at a late stage, which can lead to worse health outcomes. Emphasizing the importance of regular testing, even those who believe they are at low risk, is crucial. So I really want to encourage you to get tested. If you're somebody that's sleeping around, somebody that you suspect that your partner may have HIV, or you suspect your partner is cheating, it's like you should get tested. In fact, if you suspect your partner's cheating, one of the first things, in my opinion, that you should do is get tested. Even before you confront your partner, go get tested. Maybe that's the only proof you need. I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on what your behavior is. But I was fortunate that I got caught cheating, because getting caught cheating is what made me get tested. That's it, straight up. So I caught it soon enough that I was able to make it undetectable. But HIV is one of those things that's really sneaky, and it can hide and wait around and wait around and wait around, and you don't see side effects until it's too late on some occasions. So if you're sexually active and you're not using protection, especially if you're on sex apps and things like that I used to frequent all the time, you got to be careful, especially with people that are using drugs. Because I can tell you one thing, when I was on coke or meth or even ecstasy, I wasn't really caring who I was having sex with, for one, but two, I really didn't care about protection. And I'm not saying that you behave this way, but if you do, or even if you have a little bit of doubt, go get tested. It's worth it. Pediatric HIV. It says here, while mother-to-child transmission rates have decreased, children born with HIV often face unique challenges, including stigma, treatment adherence, and transitioning to adult care. I know, I interviewed a girl, I wish I knew her name, Maria, what's her last name? Anyway, she was a child with HIV, and getting to hear her story, just how it all happened. And I mean, it's scary because there are kids with HIV that somehow they got passed down through their parents, or, there's other ways that it can happen. And, this is this stigma that they have to deal with. It just immediately people think, oh, he's gay. And then there's nothing, and again, there's people that have all kinds of opinions on if being a homosexual is wrong or being bisexual is wrong, or all of those judgments. This is not the place for that. I mean, I didn't get HIV from eating Cheerios. I mean, I got it from sex with men and drugs. And of course, I was having sex with everything. So anyway, pediatric HIV, it can happen. It's not necessarily through sex. It can be through blood transfusions, and it can happen in pregnancy. I mean, there's so many other ways that it can happen, from what I understand. But the stigma around it is what is troubling, because you talk about mental health issues. Imagine a child. I mean, think about your first time you had sex. I mean, assuming you're not a virgin. Kind of nerve-wracking, right? You probably didn't have to say, oh, by the way, I have HIV. And you probably didn't have to have that conversation, and it was nerve-wracking enough having sex the first time. Can you imagine? Or even dating or falling in love, and you and are friends, or you're a kid, you're in junior high, and you got a cut open, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I can give this to someone, and then you're freaking out. Like, I mean, imagine the psychological warfare that would be. It's terrifying. Aging populations. As antiviral treatments improve, people with HIV are living longer. I got a really cool story about this. This aging HIV positive population faces unique challenges, including increased risk at certain age-related diseases at a younger age. So the thing about it with the HIV meds that I take, it boosts my immune system. So I don't really get sick anymore. It's also very hard on my liver, very hard on my heart. There are side effects to my meds. But one of the things that, I'm very fortunate that when I grew up, or when I found out that I had HIV, there was tons of resources in place. The Ryan White Foundation, God bless the Ryan White Foundation, even the Elton John Foundation. They do a ton of good work. And they provide a ton of resources where people that don't have the money, because that HIV medication is so expensive. It's so expensive. So when I first found out, I was basically homeless, and then I ended up being homeless. I didn't have the $5,000 a month to pay for the meds, but there was programs in place, and those programs saved my life. So what's happening, there's RAIN. RAIN is another organization that's great. The people are living long enough now with HIV that they're getting all the other diseases like cancer and heart issues and COPD, and some of that can be brought on by the medication, and sometimes it's just lifestyle choices. But there is an aging population with HIV. Co-infections. People with HIV are more susceptible to certain infections like tuberculosis. And in some regions, TB is the leading cause of death among those with HIV. So one of the things that this one scares me the most, and here's why. Because when I found out that I had HIV, all the doctors, it was not just taking the meds. Then they want to start giving me vaccines. And and I'm forgetting the name of it, but there is a brain-eating disease that is susceptible in men with HIV, or actually people with HIV. But I think it's men get it the most, and I think it has to do with anal sex, but another conversation. I forget, but they pressured me for years to get this vaccine. I kept saying no, like something felt wrong about it. And, they did warn me about TB, but this is not the same thing. Meningitis, I think it is. I think that's it. I think I'm saying that right. But finally I gave in because they said, listen, you are susceptible. Like, even if you're not sleeping around, like, you're susceptible to getting this. I didn't want to hear that. Like, I finally got to this place where I loved my life, wanted to live my life and not, be self-limiting because of the diagnosis. Well, I got that vaccine and, long story short, that I thought I was dying. And for months, like, I had whelps and sores that were popping out of my body. Thought I had blood cancer. It was awful. It was one of the most awful experiences of my life. It was early on in my relationship with Jessica too, and it was just awful. But it was all from the vaccine. So, co-infections you are susceptible to. That's what they will tell you. I believe it's true. And yet at the same time, the medication also boosts your immune system in a way that you almost never get sick, but yet you can still get cross infections. It's kind of a mind F, but that's literally what it is. Mental health. Depression and anxiety rates are higher among people with HIV. Mental health support is a crucial component of comprehensive HIV care. Absolutely. Again, I guess I am, recommending my book. If you don't have the money, it's free on my website, theworldsmayor.com. You just have to read it on the website. You can go there. It's free. Because here's the thing. I may be selling services and I have expensive services, but they're really not expensive. They're tons of value. Just look at the numbers. It looks like a big number, but spread it out over a year. It's not. But that said, there's people that I have a heart to help and serve that don't even have that money. And I understand that. So I'm here to serve. And there's ways that we can work together, even if you don't have money. And another thing too, again, my book is free on the website. And you check it out if you don't have the money to buy it. But if you have the money to buy it, please do. Help a brother out. Anyway, HIV and indigenous communities. Indigenous populations in various parts of the world have unique vulnerabilities to HIV, often exacerbated by socioeconomic factors, cultural barriers, and limited access to healthcare. This is where I want to give a very bold opinion, and I want to be very careful. but because of who it is, and I don't want to just start crapping on people, but there's a certain man that's really famous and really rich that is known for creating software, and he just so happens to be very involved with vaccines. You can go to India and Africa and ask about this man and see what they have to say, because these communities that I just spoke about are a lot of the communities that were tested on. Like, they had all of these drugs tested on them. They were the lab rats. They were the human trial, if you will. And the results were very, very, very bad. So the fact is that we are very blessed in America, and I'm sure other parts of the world, to have easy access to this medication, and it's life-saving medication. But the facts are that there are people that don't have access to it, and that needs to change. That gets to change. Last thing here is treatment access disparities. This is huge. While antiretroviral therapy, ART, is more accessible than ever, disparities remain. Rural communities, certain countries, and marginalized populations may struggle with access to treatment. This is true. This is very true. So I brought up, I'm fortunate that I live basically in a city, and I have access to proper health care, and I have access to proper resources. But when you get into some smaller communities, you don't have the RAIN Foundation, you don't have the Ryan White Foundation, you don't have programs that fund medications and resources, healthcare, mental health care, and all of that stuff is very, very important. So the reason I wanted to show all this is to not talk about my own HIV really, but to talk about HIV as what it is. It's not, people don't really know that much about it. People don't want to know, and people think they know a lot. But going through that list, there's some hopefully new information for you, and new information that hopefully encourages you to go out and look and find out. Especially if you're sexually active, you don't know if you're being cheated on, you suspect your partner may be bisexual or gay, they're sneaking around. Those are flags. And I'm just being honest with you, women, ladies, or even men. Like, men get cheated on too. And you just don't know. If you suspect your partner's cheating, I recommend going to get tested and then having a really honest conversation. And if you're one of those people that struggles with truth, I just want to say this plainly as possible. Truth is the only way. Truth is the only way that you will ever find any freedom, because the lies will pile in on you. And even when you think that you're getting away with the lie, it's going to come back and bite you really freaking hard. Thank you for watching. We'll see you at the next segment. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the World's Mayor Experience. I am so excited to introduce this new segment called Community Champions. And this is where I spotlight somebody from the community anywhere in the world that is doing amazing things that I feel that deserves attention. Of course, some of these people will be someone you've never heard of, and other people are like, hey, I've read their book or I know about them. But they are people that inspire me. And our very first guest, or not guest, but the very first person that we're going to talk about for being a community champion is Maggie Doyne. Now, Maggie is an American philanthropist who, after graduating from high school, traveled the world as a backpacker. During her travels, she reached Nepal and was deeply moved by the plight of the orphan children she met there. Instead of continuing her travels or returning to the US for college, she decided to make a difference. that in itself is inspiring to me. And I've shared before, I don't know if it was in a broadcast or just a random video that I was talking about, but my father was somebody that, as a kid I looked up to, and I like when he would tell me stories about traveling with famous rock stars and, with his band, and telling me, the top 10 hits and the recording studio, and telling me what it was like on the road and all those stories that I was mesmerized by. And I'm like, wow, I wanted to be him. But there was always this end of his story that he told me, and it always bothered me. I heard it over and over and over and over again up until the time he died, in that he gave up on his dream because his father wanted him to go to school and get an education. And I get it. There's a lot of parents that want their kids to go get an education. But what we never talk about is that person who gave up on their dream or their goal of what they wanted to do because of what somebody else wanted. And we never talk about what they want in their own spirit. That we never talk about the pain of what that's like to give up on something we deeply want. So I'm inspired by anyone who says, you know what, I'm going to defy conventional wisdom. I'm going to defy what everyone else thinks I'm supposed to do. And I'm going to do what I feel led to do. I'm going to do what I feel is right. So that alone is a reason why I absolutely have tons of respect for Maggie. But check this out. Here's some of her achievements. This is what her leaving school has done. The Blink Now Foundation. That's BLINKNOW Foundation. Maggie co-founded the Blink Now Foundation with the belief that every child has a right to education, food, and a loving home. The Copilla Valley Children's Home. Using her life savings and funds from donors, she built a home in Nepal, which now houses over 50 children. It's in Surkhet, which is Surkhet. She also came up with Copilla Valley School. She didn't just stop just at home. Recognizing the importance of education, she built a school that now educates hundreds of students, providing them with quality education and meals. That's another reason why she's inspiring to me, because a lot of what we want to do with the World's Mayor experience is when we take this on the road and we go work in communities, it's working with communities just like Maggie's and what she's created. It's providing media resources and media education for these students, because again, if you know media, you can monetize anything. So why not monetize your dreams, your passions, and your intellectual property? A women's center. Recognizing the need to empower women, Maggie also established a women's center to provide skills and resources for women to become self-reliant. Kudos to her. Amazing. Awards and recognition. While Maggie Doyne might not be a household name, her work has been recognized by many. She was awarded the CNN Hero of the Year Award in 2015. Probably needs more awards. Maggie's story is a testament to the power of one individual's determination to make a difference. She saw a need, and instead of moving on, she decided to be the change. Her story can inspire listeners about the impact one person can make, emphasizing themes of compassion, resilience, and grassroots change. You can learn more about her at maggiedoyne.com. So Maggie-Doyne.com, D-O-Y-N-E. So one last time, Maggie-Doyne.com. And if I'm pronouncing her name incorrectly, please forgive me, but please go check out her organization at that website, see what she's all about, and support any way you can. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you next time.